Happy Monday, good people, and welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk. There's plenty to talk about from over the weekend, and we're going to get into all of that action and more next on WWT Live.
Howdy, folks. This is Willow Nightingale, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Monday to all my good people, and welcome to another edition of WWT Live. This is part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am your professor, Gerard Bonner, GB, Teflon G. I don't know what else you feel like calling me, but I do know that it's going to be a big day. It's a big week in the world of wrestling. A lot of things are happening. We've got the NXT debut on CW this week. We've got 5 years of Dynamite this week. We've got Bad Blood this week. But before we get into all of that, it's a Monday. So I'm not alone. I've got an amazing crew rocking with me. He's the newest part of our crew, but he fits right in perfectly. All-star fandom. Dion is in the building. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here just to talk some wrestling, and it's giving me a reason to wear my shirts on a week-to-week basis. So
I like
happy
it.
to be
So
here.
tell the people which shirt you're rocking today.
Oh, Seth Rollins today. One of
yes.
his earlier wins with the freaking stuff. So yeah.
Yes, yes. I love that design. That is absolutely awesome. And then, of course, joining us, well, you'll see who she's representing. She'll make it very clear. Besides AEW, apparently, Courtney's in the building. How are you, Courtney?
Are you ready for some football tonight? If you can tell, my Dolphins play tonight against the Tennessee Titans. It has been a wild season so far for us, but Tyler Huntley, I'm hoping he does great in place of Tua, but we're going to do great. But we do have a lot of stuff in the wrestling world. Bad Blood is Saturday. Tomorrow's the season premiere of NXT, and a lot to get to.
We do. Now, I've got to give it to you. You are supporting a team that's starting off with a challenging year so far. How are you feeling about that?
I will say it's been rough because a lot of people thought we were out after our loss to Buffalo, after our loss to Seattle. But I kept saying to myself, wait, this is September. This is early in the season. I don't know why everybody's cutting us off already. And yeah, we have a backup quarterback in Tyler Huntley. I mean, yes, it does seem a little bit chuckle because people are like, oh, they're not going to pick us. But our weapons are healthy. You see everybody else's team, some of their weapons are out. Some of them are going to be out of commission for a couple of weeks. But majority of our weapons are still healthy. It's just we have to find a rhythm and have to find a system that it works best for Tyler Huntley. Now, we have one more game coming in. Like after the Titans, we have the Patriots, and then we go on a bye after this week. So I think once we get our cards together in October, November, we can make a push because I do believe they're going to go to the playoffs one way or another. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to go to the playoffs.
All right.
Well, you're a true fan, and this is giving me a different kind of joy, that's for sure. And speaking of joy and all things sweet, of course, Wrestling with Honey's in the building. Honey, how are you?
I am fabulous. I can honestly say I'm not as enthusiastic as my sister here as far as football goes. Football sucks for me this weekend, but nonetheless, my Steelers put in a good fight, but I don't care about that right now. It's time to move on to the next thing. Big week, and I'm so excited. My shirt, I'm representing myself. I'm a walking brand, baby.
Big week. We love it. Oh, that's so you've got your own merch now. I like it.
I'm working on a little prototype. Yeah.
I love
working
it.
on some things. Yeah.
I love it. These are the things we love to see. Shout out to everybody in the chat, and there are a lot of folks in the chat. I'm a little nervous to say your name, but Chicago's in the building. Excellent. Special nobodies. Great to see you. Let's see. Jeffrey, good to see you. Eric, good to see you as well. October is the best month of the year. You can ask me why a little bit later. The producer is here as well. Boza, good to see you. You're a YouTube member now, cousin. We love to see that. That is awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And I love this. Let's go Mets. Yeah, that's that's perfect. That's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And of course, the other half of Honey is here. We still haven't figured out what to call you guys collectively, but you'll come up with something.
So
Oh,
somebody came up with something, and I think it was either Special Nobodies or Cousin Ron. Somebody said it the last time, but they said that collectively we're the Honey Patch.
Yeah, I get.
And there's actually a really cute reason why he has that name. Long story short, his niece, when she was a baby, God bless her, she couldn't say his name, and his name is Matthew. So she said Patchu until she's old, and she still calls him Patchu. It's the cutest thing.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I think the Honey Patch would be ideal.
I'm a fan. And meanwhile, I hear, yes, Dylan is already in October because you're in Australia. How does it feel in October? Because I'm on my way and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. The mayor is in the building. Indeed. Happy CWE. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. Of course, we'll get into this whole CW premiere because there's some big news coming about that. But big news about 2025 already, as we now know about tickets getting ready to go on sale for Royal Rumble. I know. We're like there already.
What are we going to
do? Royal Rumble 2025 will be in Indianapolis at the Lucas Oil Stadium, part of a 3 PLE deal in that venue, which will also include WrestleMania at some point, not this coming year, of course. But Royal Rumble tickets are going to start going on sale Wednesday in terms of pre-sale and things like this. It's nuts to me that we're already talking about the Royal Rumble, but we're there. So let's kind of have a little quick discussion, shall we? Who do we see already? I know it's a while away, so I'm not going to hold anybody to this. But who do you see in terms of your first picks to win the men's and women's Royal Rumble?
Oof.
Let's start there.
Oof, already? Who knows who's gonna be appearing by then? Especially like and anybody from NXT or the main roster, or if you really want to get funky, TNA, the same way they surprised us last year when Jordan Grace came through. I don't know. You guys might want to go first with these picks. I need a minute.
I'll go. I think I really want to pick CM Punk because he might be owed one from last year. I want to pick Jade for the women. I think this would be the good year to pull a trigger. I'm not sure. This could change This could change tomorrow.
For sure.
I'll go with those two for today.
It's very early. Very early. Courtney, any early picks for Rumble winners for the men and women?
For the women's, and it's so ironic because the women's this past year, I actually picked Bailey to win, and ironically enough, she won. I'm gonna go left field. I have a feeling Charlotte's gonna win the Royal Rumble because she is gonna come back. That could be a good return for her since she's rehabbing from her serious injury. So it could be a possibility she could win that, Charlotte. For the men's, it's very hard to say because there's so many other choices. You have Finn Balor, Damian Priest, maybe Drew McIntyre. There's just so many things with the men that you could go. Yeah. There are just so many avenues you can go with the men. I mean, Jey Uso is another one possibly, but there's just so many avenues with the men.
Well, I saw a potential poster of like the faces that they had on the cover for this event. I couldn't help but notice that there was a woman on there that has not won a Rumble yet. And maybe by then I don't know how, but maybe she won't have a title, and so she'll have everything to gain by winning this Rumble to get it back. Maybe Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan would be a good win. Or and for the men's, I don't know. I feel that's crazy. For the men's, maybe I'm just gonna go with it. Given given that they're rumored to have they're rumored to be giving Braun Breaker a big push by the time we go into January. I could see Braun Breaker taking everybody out in the Rumble. And being that this is in Indianapolis, I would just say like not even somebody in the match, but maybe to host it, the return of Pat McAfee by then, because I'm sure college football will be done, and he always resurfaces around the Rumble, so it's gonna be fun. I think that'll be fun.
Ooh, I like to change my pick real quick.
Okay.
I'm writing a story now in my head. John Cena wins the Royal Rumble next year. Okay. Headlines one more WrestleMania for his 17th title.
Okay.
Ooh.
And let him run with it the rest of the year.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's see what some of these yeah.
I was gonna say for the men's, I'm just gonna say it. Karrion Kross. Boom. That's it.
Karrion Kross. Wow. Now that's a dark horse. That's a dark horse. Wow.
He's been a dark horse of mine for some time.
Wow.
On the come up.
Well, let's see. Boza says it's insane that we will have to wait till February for the Royal Rumble. Well, it's only February 1st. It's not that insane. It's usually the last week in January anyway. So
like a 27th, 28th.
Yeah, something like that.
Give us a couple extra days.
Not that bad. The first flyer is interesting. It is, but I would say this. Remember, the first flyer is about selling tickets, not necessarily a precursor to, or a predictor in terms of what we'll see with the Rumble. Boza says he could see Strowman winning. Okay. Jeffrey says it's too soon. Says Braun Breaker and Jade Cargill. Dylan says not a legend unless it's John Cena. For the women, Boza chooses Natalia. Zelina Vega for the women, and for the men, Jey Uso. Okay.
Like the way you think, producer. Like the way you think.
Let's see. Mr. Mayor, Professor said we weren't locked down for these. Oh, that's good. That's a good way to get out of that. Let's see.
Can I just say this poster is really interesting? Because do you guys see what I see behind everything? Do you see like little numbers and stuff? Kind of like
the
very
Matrix code. Yeah.
Very matrixy code, almost like Millennium. It's giving, and I know Courtney will love this. It's giving Chris Jericho countdown a little.
Oh my god! No.
I
had to say it. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that that's what's gonna happen, but that's what it's giving.
Yeah, that just gives you the first one. But I think I may have to change my men's pick. I don't know why, but I think I'm gonna go with Finn Balor. I don't know why. Finn Balor.
Like that.
Okay.
Noticing the numbers back there, honey.
Special Nobody says Jacob Fatu and Jade Cargill. Jacob Fatu is a very interesting choice. I'm not sure if he will win, but I do think he's going to be a major factor. Factor.
Can you imagine if we get Jacob Fatu face to face with Braun Breaker?
Oh my god,
like
that
moment
would be
in
epic.
the Rumble.
Well, I'm surprised nobody has mentioned this. This is a very early pick for me, but I think the Tribal Chief could win the Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
The Tribal Chief.
Oh my goodness!
It's how you guarantee your way back into a world title match, and he hasn't been in a Royal Rumble match in a few years. That's almost the equivalent of when we had Brock in the Royal Rumble. Like it's gonna be like that, which I think would make this very interesting. But yeah, we've got a ways to go before we get there. So yeah, tickets will be on sale very soon for the Royal Rumble. That is coming up again in a couple of days. And then there's an interesting choice. Joe Hendry. I think he'll be in the Royal Rumble.
He'll definitely appear.
He'll be in the Royal Rumble.
That's gonna be a huge pop.
Because to hear that stadium sing his song. That's gonna be a moment. Now, also we know that tickets will be on sale for WrestleMania as well. So we're gearing up because 2025 is going to be big. Those tickets go on sale at the end of October 25th. WrestleMania in Vegas. It's a 2-day situation. I won't get into potential predictions for WrestleMania in terms of who will be in the main event, but I will ask one WrestleMania question. And this is open enough that I think everybody can have a pretty decent answer to this. What is a match that you think will be a lock? No. I changed my thought. What is a match, if you're booking this year's WrestleMania, what's one match that has to happen? You're booking WrestleMania in Vegas 2025, a match that has to happen. Honey. She's waxing poetic like the greatest match ever, and she's muted. That's fantastic.
Give me what I want. That's what I'm saying. Give me what I want. Give me what I was robbed of. Give me Rocky versus Roman. Damn it. Period. Okay. End of story.
Okay. I don't want that anymore. I think I'm okay with not having that anymore. I would be more interested in my lock would be Cody versus Rock. That would be mine. Because that build
maybe night one.
Yeah, sure. Well, give it. We got 2 nights. You can give me first or the second, but no, I think I do that one just because their build was great and the Rock tease at the end that I'll be back. You don't know when I'll be back, but I'll be back. So just that alone has got me locked in for that match. I don't know night 1, night 2, but Rock Cody, I'd book that one.
Okay. Courtney?
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go on the women's side. And for me, Tiffany versus Charlotte. For some odd reason, Tiffany versus Charlotte. Because that would be an interesting rivalry. And with her coming back, because she's almost that close. And Tiffany, I don't know if she's going to be Miss Money in the Bank because she's going to cash it in soon. I don't know when she's going to cash it, but could you imagine the promos that those ladies would do?
That could be interesting. I'm trying to think if I'd be ready for that for this or not if I'm ready, but if Tiffany's ready for Charlotte at WrestleMania.
If you're gonna give me a women's caliber match, like I would, and this is no offense to Tiffany, I would take out Tiffany, give me Charlotte and Jade.
Oh yeah, Charlotte and Jade.
Or by God, Charlotte and Bianca at Mania.
Okay.
All over again. Yes. Let's do it.
Are we just sitting on Bianca versus Rhea? Because I feel like we haven't pulled that trigger yet.
We have not pulled that trigger for Mania yet, and I'm not sure what they're waiting for. I'm not sure. I hope that we don't end up in a scenario where they wait too long. You know, both of them have been involved in separate, almost separate universes, so to speak. But that's kind of the match I think that needs to happen. But we've got quite some time to 2025 for both the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, but you can secure your spaces for both of those starting very, very soon. Now, I already know who I'm going to first on this one, but this is really interesting. So we have to actually go back a few months ago because we talked about this story here. AEW had been, since their inception, using Bleacher Report exclusively for their pay-per-view distributor. Then, earlier this year, they started branching out into places like Triller and ppv.com and YouTube and many other spaces. And we heard that it was going to be for a trial. If my memory serves me correctly, it goes back to like Double or Nothing when they started this whole situation. Well, today, Bleacher Report emailed their subscribers and said in no uncertain terms, they're out of the pay-per-view game with AEW. So Bleacher Report will no longer be supporting AEW in the pay-per-view world. They are giving their supporters something to the effect of 14 days if they want to switch over whatever purchases they made to Triller so that they can be seen in that particular library. What are your thoughts, guys, on Bleacher Report no longer being the distributor for AEW's pay-per-views? Courtney, I'll start with you.
I would say it is, I don't want to say it's a blessing, but it kind of secures a little bit of dead weight, only because, and I read this in a lot of reports where some people weren't happy with Bleacher Report because there has been issues with lack of buffering. Sometimes their results are inaccurate, especially in the ones with All In this past year, because they seem to have a little bit of a bias on certain wrestlers where they never gave the full details of the entrances. Where I was reading like some of the entrances for the tag team match, and some of them were descriptive in one tag team, but they were completely negative bias on the other tag team for no reason. And I'm like, that's not
Are
cool.
you referring to like their reporting on it? Is that what you're?
Yeah, the reporting on it. And also with the news report in regards to Max, that also is really huge as well. Because after that whole report with Max, that really changes a little bit of it. And also, it's really interesting on how they noted that, sending it to their people saying, oh, you have 14 days to do that. Like, after that, that's it. So it just seemed a little bit off on their part. But it kind of secures a lot of dead weight. And the focus for AEW now is like, you got a partnership with Max. You should be focused on that moving forward.
Well, let me back up. I will hold on. Allegedly. Because there's nothing with Max confirmed, and so I don't want us out here. Listen. As long as I'm a part of what we're doing, if we're gonna report on it, it's gonna be what it is. There is absolutely nothing confirmed about them doing anything with Max at this particular point. So that doesn't necessarily lean into what's happening with Bleacher Report. Now, I will say one of the challenges that Bleacher Report has had has been they have not necessarily been, and I want to be clear, this does not, and they were clear in their email as well, this does not mean that they won't continue covering wrestling. They will continue covering wrestling. They just are no longer the pay-per-view distributor for AEW. Now, if anybody has watched a pay-per-view on Bleacher Report, I have, and I can tell you that there have been some performance issues when it's come to Bleacher Report. And I'm not sure. I know Bleacher Report, they stream, varying events. I don't know if the volume of people watching for AEW was too much for their servers to handle. I'm just not sure. But yes, I want to make sure we're clear. They are still reporting on wrestling, and their ties to AEW in that regard are not impacted. It is just they are no longer going to be the pay-per-view provider for AEW. Dion, any thoughts on what this could mean one way or the other?
Well, considering what you said about like some performance issues of things, I can see that being a reason why Bleach Report would sort of drop it. I know allegedly there's that Max report allegedly. So my thoughts when I saw that, exactly. So my thoughts when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, this just clears a path for things. They're clearing, a path for things to be sort of streamed on Max, if that ever happens or that deal goes through. But that's what I thought of when I first saw it. But now, because I've never seen a pay-per-view on there too, but after digging through a few comments and stuff too, sort of seeing that and you sort of co-sign on it too. It's a performance issues thing. Like, hey, we can't sustain this audience. Why are we sort of putting this much manpower into this? So let's get back to what we do best, and this isn't it.
Honey, any thoughts on what this severing of a partnership from AEW and Bleacher Report could mean?
I mean, I know that we had spoken a little bit about this when they had announced, they were going to be doing the pay-per-views for AEW. I think this has potentially a lot to do with AEW securing that new media rights deal with Warner Brothers. I mean, according to some reports, allegedly, that deal is valued around like 150 something $million or something like that, for AEW's TV shows to stay on TNT and TBS, with also True TV. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it'll have anything to do with Max. I mean, they say apparently, potentially, and allegedly it will be beginning in 2025. I think this is just probably fake TK's way of, just trying to secure several bags, and there may be making some space for something else that's coming. I know that being that SmackDown is no longer on Fox, there could be potential opening to have something else there on Fox. I mean, I'm not in the walls of these meetings or anything like that. But if I was AEW, I would try to possibly secure something with that. Maybe Bleacher Report will also work with them there. But I'm not sure what it means. But it just shows that AEW is making some moves. It's a little chess moves.
So I will say this, that I think AEW. Oh, okay. Let me back up and say this. So I think most people would imagine that if you are not just a startup company, but any company, and you have people in your proverbial family, you will go to them first to try to see what skills and talents they have, how we can all work together and make things work. The one piece that I don't think people really have realized anyway is that Bleacher Report, one of the reasons why AEW went to them is because they are part of the Warner Brothers Discovery family. Warner Brothers owns Bleacher Report. So for AEW, it's a move that made sense in terms of going to a pay-per-view space because they could handle it. When they didn't, in my mind, and again, let me just throw this out here so nobody think funny. Allegedly. But reading certain tea leaves, this is akin to when an artist has hired their cousin to be their manager, and their cousin can only manage them to a certain point. And after that certain point, they have to get somebody who is more skilled that can actually usher them into different rooms. It feels like Bleacher Report's performance was like the cousin, where it was like, okay, well, we're going to get this on for you. We've got some hiccups, we're a new company, all blah, 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 blah. Well, now they're at a space where if you're pulling multi-million-dollar deals, you can't afford to have a company not deliver on the pay-per-view side. Because remember, AEW is asking for more money for a pay-per-view than any other wrestling company in the world right now. They're asking $50 a pop for a pay-per-view. So if I pay $50 a pop, I should not have any performance issues in terms of you delivering the pay-per-view to me. And I think that is really one of the issues when it comes to Bleacher Report in and of itself. So I think it's interesting. Now, what they did say, which I'm going to be interested to see how this works, is one of the cool things that Bleacher Report did have is if you purchased a pay-per-view there, you are then able to watch that in the library, forever. So for those who have purchased previous pay-per-views, they can be somehow transferred over to Triller in the next 14 days. So you can watch them on Triller so that at least you didn't lose the access for that, which I think is a good thing. But the 14-day window to me feels like almost AEW saying our agreement ends at this point. So you've got to be able to tie up all the loose ends because on this date, we're done and we're out of here. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully for AEW, again, the other spaces that they have like Triller, ppv.com, YouTube will continue to deliver pay-per-views in the way. And I still think if they do go to Max, it'll be a centralized place that I think will overall bode well for them. So we will indeed see. All right, moving forward, of course, that means Wrestle Dream, the next big pay-per-view for AEW will not be on Bleacher Report, which if you are a Bleacher Report fan, that might take some adjusting, but so be it. And that will be kind of the way things move forward for AEW. All right. Now, let's gear up because one of the big news items this week is NXT's long-awaited broadcast television debut on the CW. It happens tomorrow night. We have been talking about this since it was first announced, and we're actually here. And a lot of people have been wondering, what kinds of potential changes could we see with NXT? I know it's been asked here in our chat, will NXT move out of the Performance Center? I've seen a couple of things. One of the things that I've seen, of course, is that they'll obviously be in 2 different venues in the next couple of weeks. I've heard that they are pulling down the set for NXT at the Performance Center. I don't know if that means that they will be developing a new set or what that means. So we'll wait for something official. But what I can tell you is official, and I don't know what to do with this. Somebody somewhere will. Apparently, on the CW's television listings, the debut for NXT is rated TV 14. Not TV PG. So the TV 14 rating means that there is some material that might be deemed unsuitable for children under the age of 14, which gives some Attitude Era potential vibes to it. So here's the question. What do you think we're getting on a potentially more edgy NXT on the CW tomorrow night? What do you think qualifies it for the network to already deem it TV 14? Dion.
I mean, Shawn Michaels is running this thing, so that was my first clue into the.
Hello.
So that was my answer right there, Professor. That was it. But no, I think on that listing, on that screenshot you sent in the chat, I was like, even Superman and Lois was like TV 14. I was like, what are they doing over at the CW that things are turning TV 14? But I think just like a level of violence on network TV like that, I don't know how much they'll try to get away with for this first episode or these first few, I guess, especially being out of the Performance Center too for those. But I saw it like Shawn Michaels is running this thing. I trust him, but he'll have something up his sleeve. That degenerate is still in him, and he'll show it with TV 14 for on CW for NXT too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Intriguing. Courtney, let me ask you this. You are aware, I'm sure as most are, of some of the matches slated for tomorrow night. Which match or moment are you most looking forward to on the CW premiere?
Oh boy. Well, outside of the women's match, I'm looking forward to seeing that Chicago street fight. I'm looking forward to see that match between Wes and Zach, because even though their storyline has been crazy, you're in Chicago, you better bring a good street fight into that match. But also, of course, like Roxy and Julia. But I'm very intrigued because I know people kind of gush over it, thinking like, "Oh, it's good," but I just feel like when they're in that match, it's gonna be epic. That's just me, but that match is really gonna be epic.
Wes and Zach, I think that is going to be a really, really good one. Before I come to you, honey, the chat is going crazy. TV 14 means the CW now stands for Cakes Wanted Network. I can't believe I read that. I cannot believe I read that. Wow.
Clip that, Dylan. Clip that. He read it.
They saw Julia headbutting Perez open and they said PG-14. I could see that. Oh Lord, more. Oh, y'all are really trying to bait me today. I see. More Lola Vice at work. All right, that's great. Cakes want that's just hilarious to me.
That is.
Seth says violence, a level of posterior unsuitable for teenage eyes. They're going crazy. Me and Cedric are the Yam Yam twins, not to be confused with the Yin Yang twins. Wow. I don't know if that's allowed since I'm white, but I am part Polynesian. Boy, this is hilarious.
I am so done with these comments.
Oh my goodness.
Happy Monday. They're on one today.
I'm gonna slap the taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see you try.
And here we are. Here we are. So yeah. Well, Sexy Red is going to be on the St. Louis show on the 8th, which that will also be, I'm sure, very interesting. So there's talk in here. Julia needs to take the L, and of course, Cindy'll is like, that's a no. Julia does not need to take the loss. So, all right, let's just ask the question. I mean, it does happen tomorrow, and we won't get a chance to preview it before then. Roxanne, Julia, who walks out as the NXT Women's Champion?
Oh.
I'm scared. I'm so scared to answer this. So, but I will. Cindy, I love you, girl. I do. But I'm gonna go with Tuesday Night Rocks. I'm gonna have to go with Tuesday Night Rocks. I understand the impact and the superstar that is Julia. I totally understand. But if you ask me, she's main roster worthy. She really, really is. But considering that they just plugged in Stephanie Vacour last week to cap it off on USA, it makes me think that some kind of shenanigans is going to go down in that match, and Roxanne is going to come out on top. Like, she's just going to get away by this much. You know what I mean? This is definitely Roxanne's second biggest challenge. Julia being a big international star that she is, I feel like we're going to get so much more goodness out of her with Stephanie Vacour, and with Roxanne still being champion and having that bragging rights. There's just one thing I'm waiting for, and I've been waiting for this even before Stephanie Vacour and Julia were announced to be here. I'm still waiting for the generation of Jade. I'm waiting for Miss Cora Jade to return, and either she could cost Roxanne the title, possibly, or she could come back after Roxanne wins at the very end and be like, I'm coming back for what I never lost and what you took away from me, and my, career-ending injury, almost career-threatening injury. So Roxy. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, honey. Do you think that the time away for Cora Jade, in that time, that Roxanne has elevated her so much until Cora Jade really isn't a factor anymore?
Well, I think so, but I can see how that would be, but I just think that Roxanne, she's like, no one's on my level. There's nobody better than me. I'm on top and you guys are down here, and I get it. But it's easy for someone to go through this journey to forget about previous things that have happened because she's moved on to the next thing. So I think with Cora Jade's return, it'll kind of be like when Roman won the title. What was it? Before, I forgot what pay-per-view it was, but then Cena showed up, and it'll be kind of like one of those situations. It's like, you're somebody that I've been back and forth with for quite some time, and I'm just about had it with you. And I just don't know. I just feel like for me personally, it would leave a pretty good taste in my mouth, because I do want justice for Cora Jade. Like, she's owed that match. And this version of Roxy too, that match is going to be badass.
Okay. I have a retort, but I want to give others a chance to say something. Dion, who takes this? Is it Roxanne or is it Julia?
I think Roxanne sneaks out with it.
Okay.
After hearing Honey go through it, I was like, okay, it won't be from the lack of, like, it'll be from like shenanigans, right? Like, you got to think like, okay, maybe, because I don't think it'll hurt Julia to lose. I don't think it will. But it definitely helps Roxanne to win by hook or crook. It really doesn't matter at this point, right? I think she slips out of it. And then, like I said, I think I like the Cora Jade. That was SummerSlam, I think, too, honey, where Cena showed back up. So to get a pop like that on the road for Cora Jade, if she's healthy enough to come back, I think that'd be your next move, and you move Stephanie and Julia into sort of maybe their own little thing. So I think she squeaks out. Roxanne sneaks off with it, by the tights. Hold the tights.
Okay. Courtney, are we looking at Roxanne or Julia tomorrow night?
This match is definitely going to go down to the wire. Julia is definitely going to bring it, but I have a feeling this match is really going to have a lot of shenanigans throughout this whole match between them. But in a close inch second, Roxy's going to retain. In just a short inch, because to point out Honey's point, there is another lady waiting for her, Cora Jade, but there's also another woman waiting for her, Stephanie Vaquer. So that's going to be very interesting on how that's going to erupt, especially if Roxy retains. So I'm going to be very intrigued on what avenue is going to happen there in the aftermath of their match.
I only feel strongly about Roxy and Cora Jade returning because Roxanne has gone so deep with this title run and believing she's untouchable that Cora Jade will be her reminder, like, listen, you forgot that I'm still here. Just because I've been gone doesn't mean I haven't been here, and I've been watching you with my title. I just feel like it would be a Cora Jade revenge tour somewhat.
So since you mentioned it, I am likening, you mentioned Roman and John Cena, to which that return actually happened at Money in the Bank.
Money in the
Bank.
And then they
it was green.
And then they fought at SummerSlam, and it was
SummerSlam, yes.
It was the first PLE with people, like once they lifted the restrictions and stuff during the pandemic. But if you'll remember, that match, Roman was so far ahead of John Cena that this wasn't the John Cena of old that we knew and loved. I mean, he was the same talker, but he certainly wasn't the same performer. I'm likening at this point Cora Jade to that, or history buffs might remember this, when ironically Shawn Michaels was Intercontinental Champion, and he was kind of on his whole thing, and then his old partner Marty Jannetty comes back, and it was like Marty got a quick win, but he ran circles around Marty Jannetty, and I just feel like we're seeing multiple things happen at the same time, which is where Cora wouldn't fit into that picture, because when you add a Stephanie Vaquer and a Julia, and then, of course, you have, every now and again, Jordan Grace showing up and things like this. The women's title in NXT has become top tier.
Yeah.
Yes.
This brand is no longer developmental. And I've been saying it for a long time, but you can't add former world champions to a brand. I mean, even if you talk about Ethan Page, a 20-year veteran who comes in, you're not coming into developmental space. Now, are people being developed there? Yes, but it doesn't make it a developmental brand. And so with that said, I think if Cora Jade does come back, she's better suited to fight for the North American Championship, because in that picture, you do have, again, more people who are still young in the game, all of those kinds of things, and that kind of makes sense. So so to that end, there's a lot of talk in the chat about should Julia win, should she not, et cetera, et cetera. I think whether Julia wins or not, Julia's presence, along with Stephanie Vaquer's presence and Roxy's insane ascension, says to me that the women's championship is no longer for, those who are just getting their feet wet. You really have to be able to put it down at that point. So that means there could be the possibility that Roxanne wins, because there are two great matches that you can have there. You can have the first time ever Roxanne and Stephanie Vacour match, or you can have the worldwide rematch of Stephanie Vacour and Julia. You don't lose either way.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
and I just want to clarify, by all means, I do not mean for Cora Jade to return and take the title, because I think Roxanne, especially with how much she's grown in the last year, is a different level. You know, when Cora Jade, before she got hurt, she was on her way there. But Cora Jade will return to at least get one more shot, because she fits right in the roster, like you said, for the North American title, because there's tons of contenders for her in the mid-card range. And it would be new rivalries developing as well. You know, you would have you could have Cora Jade versus Kaylani, Cora Jade versus Sol Ruca, Cora Jade versus Jada Parker, you know, or even Wendy Chu, like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm by all means, I'm not saying that Cora's going to come and take it. She could, but I think it's especially with how much NXT has grown, and especially with how much it's elevated the women's division for that main card title, it's Roxy all day, man. She's really, really done a bang up job this year. Wonderful
and then
job.
Shawn Michaels has been in press talking about surprises.
Yeah,
and I don't know what kind of surprises he could be talking about. I don't know. I don't know if things are. Go ahead.
When he saw the TV 14 rating that they got approved of, I'm sure he was like,
giddy. He was like, giddy.
Where's my chef hat? Where's my chef hat? Giddy as a mother. Giddy. Because you know he loves to push the the limits a bit. And we've seen do it many times. And we also talked about it last night with the Vince watch along.
For sure. So we will we'll check it out tomorrow night. Of course, the debut on CW. Now, speaking of NXT and all of this talk of the North American Women's Championship, Kaylani Jordan has done an interview, and in this interview, she says that she would like to take part in a best of 5 or best of 7 series against Sol Ruca, mimicking what she is seeing with her other half, dare I say, if that's fair to say, in Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. And so let's ask this, because I think this is really interesting. Could you see a best of 5 or best of 7 series involving Sol Ruca and Kaylani Jordan? And who should win that? Dion, I'll start with you.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Sol Ruca, so I'm picking her to win it. But if you have this match like this, if it's anything close to like Andrade and what Carmelo's been giving you on free TV these last few weeks, and they're capable of doing that too. Sol Ruca's a crazy athlete. Yes. So is Jordan. It'll be, oh man, now just thinking about it get me like, okay, I want this tomorrow when we start. I
want this like now. Yeah.
I mean, both super athletic, can go as forward. I mean, sorry, I'm not making sense, but
you're thinking out loud. It's okay.
I'm like
he's having different conversations with
all up here. I'm like, this will be great. I'd be super psyched to see this, especially if you give me 7 matches of this. Sol Ruca just figuring out ways to catch people in the soul snatcher, and
so many different ways you could do it.
Like at the end, like give me a series of that. I'll take that every single week.
I will take this on one condition. You give me a Kalani heel turn in the midst of it or towards the end. Like no, I'm just stirring the pot. You know me. I love to stir the pot a little bit, but I mean, I just think it would look great. I mean, not that either of them need to turn heel or face or whatever, it doesn't matter. But there's only so much you can do with we're friends, but let's have friendly competition. Like, no, I'm coming for your title, and no one's taking my title. Nobody does it like Lonnie, and she needs to just put, TV 14, just put the attitude in there just a little bit, maybe not a full-blown heel turn, but just a little bit of a attitude change, I would say.
I just need y'all to see the producer screaming at me. Read my comment. I just need you all to see that. So then, His comment says, I need Kaylani to turn heel during this series to catch up and tie the series. Lonnie dropping can complete the heel turn. So, okay, I got to ask, what is this obsession with heel turns? Like,
I know,
why?
right?
I don't know. I don't know where
I
it
don't
came from.
understand.
You know, I think it's just her, though. I think it was just her because
it's not been just her.
Well,
there
maybe
have
not
been
just her.
many people over time where we're like, no, they need to turn heel. No, they need to turn. When are they turning heel?
Y'all already want Cody to turn heel.
Do you see
No,
what I'm saying?
I don't. Yeah, well, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
You
I know
okay.
eventually that will come. But I'm not a fan of that. But
People were saying that about Jade. Like,
Jade,
I mean, it's
and wanting to split up Bianca, which also I don't want, and I'm glad we are not getting because I'm glad they're the tag team champions. That's what I wanted initially. You can't have that big impactful photo that they had with pointing to the sign with Naomi and then just break them up. Like that's just silly. It's absolutely silly. I'm just saying there's just something about Lonnie that it could like she has a lot of spice to her, and I like it for her. So Ruka's a fan favorite, and she's fun. And she's cool, like she's so Ruka. But I'm just saying that Kaylani, that she came, there was a picture. It was all because of this Instagram photo she posted. That's the reason why I'm kind of hell bent on it. And she looked basically like Mellow. And I'm just like, that would be a cute look for her. I would like that for her. So listen, Sean, do what you do. I don't care what you do. I'm watching either way.
I was gonna say they've got enough. Trust me, they've got enough heels and some heels in the pipeline and some developing heels. And it's like
they do.
Y'all are gonna get your heel wish. Trust me.
We will. We will. It's gonna happen in a big way for Kaylani. But I'm just saying, I see it in her. Like I could already see it. I already do.
Interesting. Courtney, who should win this series between Sol Ruka and Kaylani Jordan? Should it happen?
Oh boy. Well, I for one wanted this to happen because I actually, since I started watching NXT again, I started following a lot more Kaylani. I've seen Sol Ruka's matches, and I feel like they do have not similar but different dynamics with each other that I feel like they could work well with the chemistry. But actually, going back to Honey's point, because I did see a photo of Kaylani dressed up where I think it was like something that was from the 90s, like late.
She had
90s.
like leather and all black on. Like it was like,
and I was just like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that could be like a heel thing for her. Like if she ever turns heel, that should be like that route. But anyways,
I know who to blame for all of this heel love, Professor. It's Triple H and Shawn Michaels' fault. It's all their fault.
We blame them. We blame them. Wow.
I love them.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's pretty awesome. So either way, we will certainly see what happens with this. But we want you in the moment to actually go ahead and grab some merch, okay?
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
All right, and we're gearing up for All Caribbean Wrestling's next big show. It's called Fight for Paradise. It's just a few days away, a couple of weeks away in Nassau, Bahamas. And I want to tell you this. Something started today that I think you guys will be very, very interested in. Yes, the show itself is going to be amazing. 4 WWE Hall of Famers will be a part of this, including Mark Henry, Teddy Long, and the APA. That in itself is going to be incredible. But you have a chance, courtesy of All Caribbean Wrestling, to win $1,000 in cash.
Ooh.
Like for real, for real. The real money. It's not a joke. Go to All Caribbean Wrestling's Instagram and TikTok pages and find out how you can win $1,000. It's not hard at all. So go ahead, check it out, and enter into that contest to win that. And you might want to come to the Bahamas to see if you're a winner, because that's where it will be announced. Again, it's going down Fight for Paradise, October the 19th in Nassau, Bahamas. Tickets are available now at allcaribbeanwrestling.com. Now, I'm not quite sure how we segue from that to this, so we'll just go there. One of the most intriguing ways to get your own merch. We were talking about merch before. We've seen t-shirts, we've seen glasses, we've seen jackets and bombers and hoodies, but I don't think I've ever seen a roll of toilet paper dedicated to a pro wrestling star. But such is the case for Dominic Mysterio, who, well, now officially on WWEshop.com, has his own branded toilet paper.
Yeah.
I could tell you what Liv Morgan said about this, but we don't have a TV 14 rating, so I won't do that.
I saw it.
I
saw it.
But yeah,
you know, it's so funny. I'm glad we're touching upon this, because last night during our Mr. McMahon watch along, we were having a semi-mini debate about the difference between heat from Shawn in the 90s and heat from Dom right now. And shout outs to our other esteemed elected official, the councilman. He made a very good point. He was like, listen, Shawn had heat, but they don't let Dom talk. Dom, there's nobody right now who's the most hated more than Dom for, you know, when betraying his father, betraying Rhea, and now joining Liv and taking over, just taking over from the new Judgment Day. You have your own damn face on a toilet paper roll. I don't think you get much more heat than that. So Dom officially wins as the most hated man in the WWE universe in history. I mean, Iron Sheik was an insane heel in history. Okay, I think Dom even trumps that with just this merch alone. And I know, as much as people aren't going to want to admit this, y'all know damn well y'all going to cop this. Y'all know y'all gonna cop this.
I was like, I got $13.
And turning heel while you're a heel, like already, like, okay,
yeah.
All I know is that when he turns the opposite of the heel, when he does, because it will happen, he will get to that level of stardom to where the point where you're gonna love him, and when you do, people are really gonna love him, and they're gonna think back like, yo, you remember when he had his own toilet paper? His own face was on the toilet paper. You remember when we wouldn't let this man talk? And then it's gonna be a total flip change. I'm just so happy for him, because I've loved every single bit of his growth since he started, and he's a workhorse. He's also a superstar on the roster that has taken part in the most matches this year. It's absolutely insane. So shout out to Dom and his own brand of toilet paper. I'm here for it. I think it's hilarious.
I would not be shocked if it's the most popular merch by the end of this year. I would not be shocked if it was at least at the top.
Bro,
this is different. This is real different, and
this is unlike we've ever seen. I'm
not even sure what to ask, because
let's just close it off with Dom. You're doing a good job. You're doing a great job.
Product like this, how can he not?
The best part of it is it's Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom.
I did say too, I would love this. If this isn't a t-shirt, it should be. And if
agreed,
it is a t-shirt, I'd buy it.
Yes.
Like
That's
he
definitely a t-shirt.
looks just like Eddie too. By the way, looks
He
amazing.
does.
He does. Like
He
like
does.
like WCW Eddie.
Yeah.
Right.
W Eddie
Right.
too.
You know, his
Yeah,
real
very
dad.
much so. But we'll try to keep Professor at bay from asking any more about this, because
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight all these urges, my brother.
And I'm being harassed by the producer with these comments, because these comments are a little interesting, but we'll leave them as they are. Boy, what a segue to this. So from Dom on toilet paper to John Cena last night, who made an appearance on The Simpsons. The Simpsons has been around for 36 years, and to my understanding, he is only the second pro wrestler to be featured on The Simpsons. And
who was the first? I don't remember. Who was the first?
Oh boy, I believe it was the Hitman.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It was the Hitman.
Yeah. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. So yeah, John Cena continuing to make very unique moves. And again, it proves you are a part of pop culture when you can make it to a space like The Simpsons. So congratulations to him. So from the very lighthearted to a much more serious issue, something has really kind of happened over the weekend that, as Women's Wrestling Talk, it's probably wise for us to have a discussion about. So there's a promotion out there called Black Girls Wrestle, and the promotion is designed to really highlight Black women who are wrestling, and they've done shows for a bit of time. They were scheduled to do a show over the weekend in Daytona Beach, and a lot of the attention of the IWC started showing up when Maya World, who is one half of the current Reality of Wrestling Women's Tag Team Champions, did a post to apologize to fans because she was booked for this show. She went and told the story of how she ended up canceling dates to be on this show, and then went so far as to even lose a championship so she can be a part of this show. She was supposed to challenge Casey Lennox, who you see there. And the promoter and the promotion suddenly blocked her on X, stopped responding to all of her posts. And then from there, a number of the other wrestlers who were scheduled to be a part of this had a very similar experience, shared their experience. Apparently, whoever was putting the show on did not tell fans that there wasn't going to be a show. So fans purchased tickets, and fans showed up over the weekend to Daytona Beach, Florida, looking for the blackout, to find no wrestlers, no ring, no nothing. And no one has heard from this promoter. Before I tell you where the promoter has been found, to get your thoughts on what are we doing in 2024.
I don't know. This is just it's absurd. It's sad. It's a definitely missed opportunity. This was promoted and started being promoted and marketed like earlier this year, wasn't it?
Correct.
Like in March or February or something. I think that's just really it's considering the circumstances, because I know where we're gonna go with this next, but it's just a sad situation, and you hate to see it. It's unfortunate because all these women are phenomenal superstars and great athletes, and to be able to just be left out in the dust, no warning, no email, no contact, no nothing, just blocked, and like it's not good business. Absolutely not good business.
Yeah, I think it was just the ghosting of it, like have some backbone and like, okay, well, this show isn't going to happen. Refund people their money, pay the superstars, the wrestlers something in return for the time that they gave up to either travel or they cleared their schedule for that. Yeah, it's a bad look just because it's you want these independent wrestling promotions to thrive, and especially something like this too, with the message being, Black girls wrestling. Just it's tough because just a tough look. That's all, and just unfortunate. Like it's you see in the story, it was like, how did this even get like to the week of and nobody knew anything?
Yeah.
Or day of, and you show up and like the fact that the building's closed, there's no ring, there's no nothing. Yeah, that's bad business and doesn't look good for a lot of like, not all independent wrestling promotions are this, right? So I hope this doesn't hurt in the long run, but man, this was a kind of effed up sort of situation.
For sure.
Yeah, this scenario was not ideal. Courtney, go ahead and say what you need to say, but before you do, the mayor is here, ladies and gentlemen.
That was dope, man. I don't know what was happening.
I paid a good penny for that, and it hasn't been used. I'm happy you guys like that. I'm just here last minute. I've been watching the show all along, and I saw Courtney decked out in her Dolphins gear, so I wanted to come decked out in mine. Nobody is riding a higher high than the mayor these past 24 hours. Nobody.
Fair enough.
Can we see that intro again? I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, the intro is kind of fire. And
I like it a lot better than Ced is about to pound the streets and all that cake stuff.
And Ced, let me say, from one person who couldn't stand their intro to another, it's my honor to introduce.
Oh, that was dope, man.
Is it me or does I'm sorry, because I know we were talking about something very serious and I want to go back to it, but is it me or does Jacob's character look like Tama Tonga?
Just so you guys know, it's supposed to be HBK and Diesel. So I don't know. It might need an upgrade, but we'll see.
Well, it's kind of in that.
And you're the HBK. So. You're the Hickenbottom. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Oh God.
I mean, and in terms of me and Jacob, I've always proclaimed I'm the Genetti, but I'll be honest about that. I'm the Genetti, so I have no problem with that. But in that, yes.
Interesting. Well, wait. The Genetti within the team or the Genetti when they went solo?
The Genetti when they went solo, because it's that co-mayor situation.
Well, no, because the Genetti in the team was the stronger member. The Genetti when they went solo was the weaker. That's why I'm curious to see your.
That's a good question.
Assertion.
I'd love to get Jacob's answer on that. I'm going to say with the team.
Okay. Clarify.
Okay.
Sendale wants me to give her my take on
Still
Julia
dissension.
versus Roxy, and I'm going to tell you, Sendale, I just hope you suffer. I don't care who wins. I just hope you suffer personally.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh man.
You know what?
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Well,
back to it.
Here's what I'll say. I'll just tie this up really because I feel like we're just going to move to something else, and we probably should because I like the mood being different. In regards to this, the other piece of this that I think is so challenging is some investigation was done to try to figure out the whereabouts of the promoter for this show, because it is odd that every single wrestler was blocked and every person connected who reached out was blocked. Well, come to find out that the owner of this promotion is currently in jail and has been charged with sexual assault and is a registered sex offender.
My God,
man.
And was booked on September the 19th. So this is not anything that is conjecture. This is not allegedly. This is fact. And so the only thing I will say to this, well, there's two things. Thing number one is I think it is terribly unfortunate that someone with that kind of record found a way to do a show surrounding Black women. I find that to be problematic. And for that reason, I am glad that the show is not happening. And for that reason specifically, I am sorry for the wrestlers who, sacrificed bookings and all of the things.
Absolutely.
The second thing that I want to say is I want to remind people that one bad apple does not spoil the bunch. And this is what I mean by that. Just because there is one person who decided to go about promoting shows and doing the wrong thing does not mean that all indie promoters are like this, does not mean that all indie promoters of color are like this. There are a lot of great promotions that are out there that are doing great things. And so what I want us to do, the reason why I'm bringing this to our attention is so that you know that's what happened in this scenario, but there are plenty of other scenarios that are great. Do not put all Black promoters or all wrestling promoters or all women's promotions in the same boat. And trust the wrestlers when they're telling you what they're dealing with. They have no reason to down a promoter or promotion unless they have real reason. So if you're looking for a great promotion to connect with, I would suggest one like Ashe Wrestling, who had an amazing show yesterday called Smile. Ashe is with you. Incredible show, big announcements. And well, since they made it public, I'll go ahead and tell you the big announcement that happened yesterday. It was announced that there will be an 8-man tournament to determine the inaugural Ashe Wrestling Men's Champion. That one-night tournament will take place on December 7th. For that show, we had some qualifiers that happened impromptu last night. All of that will be available at AsheWrestling.com very, very soon. Another great promotion to check out, of course, is All Caribbean Wrestling, who's one of the great sponsors here at Women's Wrestling Talk. I will tell you this. I don't talk about this often, but a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. For those of you who've been following what I've been doing with Ashe Wrestling, you know I am special correspondent. I am hosting that show. I am also doing a lot of the interviews for that show and the like. Showed up yesterday and found out that I was doing commentary yesterday as well. So
put you on the spot.
So interestingly enough, for this next show, which you guys will probably want to see, I'll be on commentary along with AC Mack, who is the former IWTV World Champion, and our commissioner, Caprice Coleman. Kind of a dream team on commentary happened last night. You guys will be able to check it out when this show becomes available. I promise you, you will enjoy that. All right. If you guys are unaware, we've had several watch-alongs for the Mr. McMahon documentary. I hope you guys have had a chance to check it out because there are great, great things happening on these conversations and discussions with that. And so stay on the lookout for the next watch-along, which I know will be coming at some point very soon. I think it'll be on episode 4. Is that right?
Yes, episode 4. And we just got through the screw job episode.
Yep.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
The original one and the Montreal one.
Yeah, because the original one is one they don't talk about much.
They don't.
But that was something too. And gosh, I have so many thoughts I want to share, but I'll try to wait for watch alongs. I may have to just hop in the chat for that one. Let's see. So tonight, Monday Night Raw, taking place on the USA Network. Now, this is significant for a few reasons. Tonight is the final 3-hour Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. Now, they will return to 3 hours when they head to Netflix in January, but starting next week, it'll be 2 hours of Monday Night Raw from October through the end of the year, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern through 10 p.m. Eastern, which is going to be interesting for sure. By the way, I think you guys are saying some really nice things in the comments. So, yes, Ashe is crowning a new champion, and that should be a lot of fun. Yes, wear a few hats on top of all of this hair. It's actually quite fun. Let's see. The CW debut is taking place on your birthday. So you're an October baby too, Cindy. I knew I liked you for a reason. So it's October 1st where you are in Japan. So happy birthday to you, Cindy. We appreciate you. Yes, we're doing our best to be worldwide, closer to the NXT. You guys are going to will this NXT thing to happen. You just are. I appreciate it.
Say his name and he appears. We believe
all right.
in Professor.
Y'all are very kind. So tonight, there will be a last man standing match. This is going to be insane. I don't know how this is going to go between the two monsters, Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Also, the Yeet Master, the new Intercontinental Champion, will appear. No telling what will happen, but it should be quite the picture. It should be fantastic. Let's see. We'll also have, this is interesting to me, the Judgment Day and the LWO should be an incredible match, actually, because people don't give JD McDonough.
What's up with his eyes in this render?
Yeah.
He's got a little lazy eye.
Yeah, well, I thought he got hit in the eye at some point, but I could be.
You're right about that.
Yeah. Kofi Kingston and Chad Gable will go at it. And by the way, Kofi Kingston is going to be at that indie promotion this Saturday. And the reason he has shared the reason for it, he is going to be doing a meet and greet, and all of the proceeds are going to a very, very worthy cause. So shout out to him for doing that. CM Punk and I almost called him DM Hunk. That's really funny. Drew McIntyre. They will have their last face-off before Hell in a Cell, which is this Saturday. I'm interested in this one. Lyra Valkyria and Zoe Stark. They are going to cook. They're going to cook. And I'm missing something, or so I thought. I felt like there was one more match, but yes, I know
Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio.
That's what I thought I had it up here. That was the match I was looking forward to. Xavier Woods, Rey Mysterio. Okay, for everybody loving the heel turn, when are we seeing this potential heel turn with it? Somebody doesn't want a heel turn finally.
Heel turn Xavier?
I don't want it.
In the year of the anniversary? I hope they don't do that.
I don't want it.
They're gonna.
It's gonna happen.
They're gearing up. And listen.
Big E is gonna come back and save the group.
Yeah, Big E's gonna come back with a good old gospel, and they're gonna be all right.
I get it. I don't want it to happen any more than you guys do, because I love the New Day, but it's been 10 long years. And just when we thought that we couldn't see the Usos as solo superstars, I mean, come on. And Xavier Woods, I believe he could be owed a really good solo run. And we know Kofi is Kofi. I don't like it any more than y'all do. And I know change is difficult, but change can be good. It can be. Because Kofi, because as well as they work together, and because of their strong chemistry as friends against each other, you got a banger. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I want them to split up, because I don't.
Major world title, and I'm talking about the heavyweight title on either Raw or SmackDown, then that is an absolute failure. He's only fighting Rey because he's a former world champion.
World champion, yeah.
So if it's a mid-card title, that's a failure. He already got his dream as King of the Ring, and he was satisfied with that. So if he's going to be the only member to betray the group, it has to be for a world title to join his brethren as world champions.
I will say I'm just curious as to where my Wyatt Six will be in this situation tonight. If they're even going to appear. I'm concerned about my Wyatt Six.
Why are you concerned?
I mean, not concerned in a bad way, but I'm just like, I wonder what's next, like where they go next, because they've been hinting at a lot of things, like on Twitter or X. My age showed, but there's just been a lot of like hinting, and their promos that they had last week, the vignette that they also put up something on Twitter that said, "Do not force our hand." I'm just curious as to who their next target is or who they're talking to. So hopefully we'll figure that out. But
yeah, it'll be great to see. Again, a big night of Raw tonight. Again, the last 3-hour episode of Raw. Let me ask this, because we talk about how difficult it is for things to change. Monday Night Raw went to 3 hours back in July of 2012.
Man.
Wow.
It's been 3 hours for probably most of the time that some people on this chat have been actually watching Monday Night Raw. Let me ask this question before we go. How do you think you'll adjust, and what kind of changes do you think will happen to Raw for a 2-hour episode of Raw? Courtney, I'll start with you.
Considering I actually grew up watching 2 hours of Raw back in 2002. So it was not a surprise for me. It was just a change to the 3-hour shift because I was very nervous on how they were going to do it. How long was it going to drag? Repetitive storylines, the same matches over and over and over again. But I think as time went on with the 3 hours, booking started to adjust a little bit with some of the storylines, and they gave other superstars an opportunity to shine. Challenge is when it goes back to 2 hours, this is going to be the real test on how are they going to shape it. Because of course, we do have SmackDown that's already 2 hours, but it's going to be curious because Raw, that's the main show. It's Monday nights. It wants to get every butt in their seat. You want your top stars to be in there, but it's going to be very intriguing on what segments they're going to do, what's going to be reduced, what matches are going to be put on, and also promos, and also what other superstars are going to get an opportunity to shine on there. Because I would like to see the mid-card talent shine a lot more. Because I noticed right before it, they were getting a lot more opportunity with the Intercontinental title, the Tag Team title, the Women's title. So I would like to see some of that mid-card talent and some of those titles shine on the 2-hour spectacle of Raw.
Dion, any thoughts on a 2-hour episode of Raw? What do you think is going to change, if anything?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, when you drop 1 hour, the show's going to be a little bit faster. I was thinking about this when I saw it, like with the Attitude Era during that time. They were 2 hours. Nitro was 3. Nitro kind of dragged on a bit. But those 2 hours for Raw were just fast. And it didn't do a disservice to the mid-card as much because those mid-card superstars sort of had stories of their own. And your big guys, like your A-listers, I guess you can say, or your megastars, they didn't wrestle on every show. So Austin might come out, stun somebody at the beginning, and they'll weave that storyline throughout the night, which they've been trying to do, what they've been doing a lot now with the 3 hours, right? So I think it might be a little bit more of that, where I think you'll still see the mid-card shine, but your championship pictures won't get played out until like pay-per-views mostly, or put them in a tag team for a main event sort of thing. So I'm great to go back to 2 hours. Honestly, SmackDown's a great watch at that pace. Raw, they've always said writing for that third hour is always the toughest.
Correct.
So I'm anxious to see how fast Raw is, especially if they go back to Netflix and they go back to 3 hours. Is that going to be like a pay-per-view, like a PLE sort of situation where that's how it's going to be for every Monday Night Raw?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, that's what we've had for 12 years.
Basically. And then didn't they announce that SmackDown's going to be 3 hours soon?
Yep.
I've heard that, but after the last time they said that, I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly, because we had thought that it was going to do that on the premiere, but I thought I saw something where they're going to be doing it like maybe in the future. So it just seems to me that Raw and SmackDown basically did a little switcheroony kind of thing. But I don't think it hurts Raw. I think it's just going to make, as Dion said, to his point, that it's going to just make the show go faster. I think they're put themselves in a good position because they have so much going on their roster now and so many interesting dynamics and stories and characters now that it's going to, by that second hour and by the time it's done, it's going to leave you wanting more and you're going to wish for that third hour to be back. But you'll just have to tune into the next week. So I'm not mad at it also because of the fact that, and this is not technically yet official, but there might be a honey night watch along on Mondays now for 2 hours. So just got to check it with the boss lady, make some things happen.
I like it. Said your thoughts?
I think it's going to aid to more balance and storylines, like backstage segments and commentary reporting will be a lot more meaningful, and it'll aid to balance, kind of that NXT formula where some storylines are every other week. Spaced out, and I think it'll lead to the blending of more crossover too, like Hickenbottom related to like more surprises for the CW. I'm pretty sure a lot of these big talents will start showing up on Tuesday nights, and you might even get some matches like we see on the screen right now that might bleed into main event just to get people to watch that. So I think it's going to be a lot more balance going forward, where every program that they have during the week is going to be meaningful. It'll be able to tune into
Yes.
everything, and they'll be able to measure that as well.
Yes.
His name is Sean.
You said a lot of what I was going to say. There's a comment here from Jay Pink that I'm going to quickly address. A 2-hour Raw means shorter matches and less time for mid-carders. This will result in more stars reduced to speed, main event, catering, or future endeavored. I want to politely say to you,
reduced was loud right there.
Reduced. I want to be really. Yeah, I want to be clear. First of all, we should be careful in saying terms like reduced, because anytime you end up on a television platform, it is a success. Secondly, 2-hour Raw is only going to be October, November, December. That is not enough to get someone, quote unquote, future endeavored or putting them in catering. Thirdly, less is more.
It is.
Less is more.
Yeah.
So if you take a look at a soap opera or whatever, your favorite story isn't on all day, every day. They're going to pick a day and pick a time, and they've got a certain, so you're going to be watching for that. If you look at the shows we love in terms of length, SmackDown, NXT, they're all 2 hours and they max those 2 hours well. I think we're going to see a faster paced Raw. I think everything on Raw, to your point, Mayor, is going to mean something. And it's going to be pretty incredible. And the last thing I'll say, reduced to catering, reduced to speed, reduced to main event. I'm not sure if you realize the amount of views that speed gets.
Yeah.
They tend to get
Twitter.
Yeah. They tend to get more views on speed than they do people who actually watch Raw or SmackDown. So I don't know if that's really a reduction.
And people be sleeping on main event. Main event has good matches.
Main event is going to hit. Main event is
really good matches on main event. Think about all the guys that have been called up from NXT in the past 3-4 years. Like Ciampa, he was putting on really good matches on main event before he became official on Raw. Like people forget that.
They run it through. So yeah, main event. It says to me, yeah. You've said it. I don't need to repeat it. All right. Let's get on out of here to get you guys ready for the last 3-hour Raw of 2024. Let's see. Courtney, how can the people find you and all that you have going on?
They can actually find me here
in Miami.
Monday. I wish. I wish. I wish. I'm happy staying in Jersey. But they can find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. Wednesday, it's All Elite Wednesday. This Wednesday, Dynamite is celebrating 5 years, which is crazy. 5 years, so kudos to them. And I'll also be sharing my favorite moments from Dynamite from the last 5 years. If you want to check out my watch along, feel free to check me out on Twitter and Instagram, where I have exciting stuff happening in the coming weeks, where I'm super excited to share with all of you, and check it out.
Awesome sauce. Dion, how can the people find you?
Yeah, over on All Star Fandom Show at TikTok and Instagram, over on YouTube too. Currently, it's the last week of it, but we did the Rings of Power reviews every Friday. Last episode for this, really enjoyed that. We have a few more fandom things coming up down the pipe. I thought Will may have been on here, but Primetime Championship Wrestling is coming back on Wednesdays too. So going up against Courtney on that one, I suppose. But other than that, yeah. but other than that, got a few more interviews for fandoms. Rick Lyon, who was a puppeteer on the first Ninja Turtle movies, and worked with the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So we'll have him on in a few. And yeah, just circling the internet like everybody else.
I love it. That's awesome. Mayor, how can they find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at says CWD_SAYS, on the gram at cedistheanswer. Also, I'm here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, everything in between with writing content. Also, if your team ain't 3-1, couldn't be me. The Jaden Daniels effect is in full effect. Also, I believe there's going to be a watch along for NXT tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that. There will be a sizable earthquake in the Chicago area. If you know, you know. I will be present for that watch along. And also, happy birthday, Cynthia, I guess.
My God.
That's funny. Wow.
Taking
Happy
shots at my team, dog. I don't appreciate that.
birthday, I guess. Oh boy. Honey, how can the people find you?
You guys could find me here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with the WWT peeps and fam. You can find me every Friday doing our Honey Night SmackDown watch along. I'm gonna try to make it to Tuesday Night Pharaoh, but I got some things going on in the Beehive and I might not be present, but I will be watching. Let's see. Wrestling with Honey, TikTok, Wrestling with Honey, Instagram, Facebook, Wrestling W Honey, and please tell your friends to like and subscribe. The new sweetest podcast around that's going to be premiering very, very soon, the Wrestling with Honey podcast. I also wanted to say two things because it just popped up on my phone. R.I.P. Pete Rose.
I meant to say that because I saw that and it kind of caught me off guard. Yeah.
And thoughts and prayers
Dikembe
to
Mutombo.
And thoughts and yes, and R.I.P. Mutombo and thoughts and prayers to Luchasaurus. Apparently, he suffered from double pneumonia. It's like literally breaking as we speak. Like we're just literally finding out about this now. Fightful put it. They said they found his blood oxygen below 80%, and he was rushed to the hospital. And he had pneumonia in both lungs. He was literally days away from permanent damage, and he's going to be in recovery for about a month. So shout out to Luchasaurus and recover well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate. So yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with him, and hence the title of our show today, Not in My House, in honor of Dikembe Mutombo.
Yes.
With all of that said, you can find me at bonnerfide across all of the spaces. Again, look for that new show from Ashe Wrestling coming very, very soon. Lots of things happening. All Caribbean, Southern Honor, IWE, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, the Nightmare Factory. You can just find all of it in all the spaces. And you can follow me on the socials because you'll see a lot of those things there for sure. Make sure you're following us at Women's Wrestling Talk, WWTalkPod. On all of the socials, wwtalkpod.com is the website. And stick around because very soon you guys can find out if you put your notifications on when the next watch along is for the Mr. McMahon documentary. It's tonight. What time? Do you know? Is it after Raw?
It will most likely be after Raw and Monday Night Football. Yes.
Okay, so because we know where Courtney will be,
Yes.
she won't be watching Raw.
Nope, I give you that's the power of DVR. Yes.
And she's unapologetic. It's kind of amazing. But that'll be tonight, and it's late night, so yeah. So check it out, and I know it'll be fantastic. Then there's the watch along tomorrow for NXT. There's watch alongs all week long. So watch with us. We are working, putting in that work. Shout out to all of you in the chat. Too many of you to name. That's a good problem to have. But once again, happy birthday to you, Sendio. Definitely hope you are enjoying the birthday, and I hope it's a great October for everyone. Yeah, y'all be good, and we'll have fun with Raw and all the things tonight. And we'll see you guys next time as part of WWT Live. This is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkPod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.